What's going on YouTube? This is the Voluntarius Pollock Legion. This is going to be my first video about firearms ownership. In this video I'd just like to explain how firearms ownership is an inherent right of each individual in existence on this planet, and not just the people in the United States who have the Second Amendment. The reason I say this is because every human being has fundamental rights, and one of those rights is the right to self-preservation and self-defense. So those people throughout history who have been victimized and killed by the Nazis and the Soviets in World War II, or the Chinese that were killed during the Great Leap Forward of Mao Zedong, or the Armenian genocide, or just some random psychopath who comes up and stabs them in the middle of the night in a back alley, just to name a few examples. All those people that become victimized, they all have the right and the moral obligation to defend themselves and their families from the attackers, whoever they may be. But the thing is, most of those people who fell victim to those attackers and those governments and those individuals weren't armed, and that is part of the reason why they became victimized so easily. So they didn't have the means to resist those people, which would come in the form of firearms ownership. And that is precisely the reason why it's not a matter of legality to decide who gets to defend themselves and who doesn't, but it's a matter of a basic universal truth, because every person has a right to defend themselves. So this brings me to my own toy here. This is my Smith & Wesson M&P15. Yes, it's real. I've owned it for a good 4 years now, and I have never harmed anybody with it, nor do I plan to. The reason I have this rifle is because I deem it fit for protecting my family, protecting myself, and protecting anybody else who might be in dire need of protection. For example, somebody whose house is getting broken into by a murderer, or somebody who is in the middle of somewhere where there's a shooting going on, or whatever. That is why I have this rifle. And I, along with millions of other people like me who are armed, have a right to be armed. It doesn't matter what the politicians' scribbles say or laws. We have a right, and you have a right, whoever's listening to this, to arm yourself. And it's not only immoral for your government to disarm you, it is also, historically, very dangerous for it to do so. Therefore, the fact that the majority of countries in this world that are disarmed, unfortunately, some of them have the highest crime rates, obviously, but in case of any crises or anything like that, they are far more bound to have more casualties, because there's not as many people as there would be to respond to a certain threat that might emerge, if that's a terrorist threat, or if it's a government going bad, or if it's anything else like that. And that's why it's so important. That's why a lot of Americans and a lot of people in general take it very personally when people want to disarm them, because historically that has led to atrocities. And so that's it. I just felt like making that video. Thanks a lot for watching.
Get out of here, you goddamn jackass!